have -L for login, online PC wizard, space, and then the IP address. And they're going to show you that will work. Yes. The password. See, it gives us our same prompt. Online PC wizard at deb6-32-VM1. Okay. So, what do we need to do now? Let us exit out and let us try to see if we can access the machine now. Saying that they're on the same subnet, let's see if we can try to access the machine via its name, its host name, which is deb6-32-VM1. Let's see what happens. Perfect, it works. Okay, but let's see why it works. We're going to go on in this machine now. We're going to go into etc/host. Now, if you see here, I already inputted this information here, deb6-32-VM1 as pcwiz.lan. So if I move this, if I comment this out, that wouldn't work. Okay, if I put a comment there, that would not work. But I'm going to leave it for now, just to let you know. So if you want to log into a machine and use its host name or an alias, this is where you enter it. Okay, and it should be the same thing, should be on both systems. And we can go over here and I can go to our etc host on our guest server, and here you see I have it commented. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to uncomment it now, so both of them can, you know, back and forth. We can use either the fully qualified domain name or the host name of the server, and this will come in handy afterwards. Okay, so we just save that. Here we go again. No permissions. Now you can set up sudo so that you wouldn't have to do all of this stuff, but I kind of just like to type the password twice. It kind of keeps me, how should I say, on the cautious side. Okay. Now there is a saying that you shouldn't be running as root unless you know what you're doing and what's not, and it is true as well. To be honest, you should make backups of pretty much almost anything you do. Now I showed you before how to make a backup. Now I didn't have to worry about making a backup, but you should have made a backup. But just to show you in case you forgot or you weren't with us, I will show you a simple thing. Just a simple command to create a backup of a file. Say if, for instance, you wanted to edit your sshd_config file. What you're going to do is just click copy the location of the file, ssh.sshd. There's a sshd and there's a ssh underscore. There are two different files. One is for the server and one is for the client. So you want to copy this now to etc/sshd_config .old or .backup or whatever you want to call it, _backup, whatever. Let's say .old. Okay, and just hit enter. That will copy our current configuration as it is to the file. So in case you want to try and, you know, in the learning curve, you want to try and edit things and then you realize they're not working, make sure you always have the original configuration file to go back to. And we can just do a search, not a search, etc in the SSH directory, and here we should see that we have the sshd_config as well as the .old. Okay, so let's go back over here. Yes. Oh, there goes my permission denied again. On this server I have sudo set up, so I can do that, but on the other one I do not have sudo set up. Okay, now what do we have to do now? Okay, yes, now instead of typing out these commands, I'm going to do some form of an alias. Let's make sure the file exists first. The .ssh does not exist as yet. Okay, what we should do, let us create some keys. Let us create our authentication keys now, so that we can choose to use the authentication and encryption instead of using password authentication. We want to use key authentication instead of password authentication. So as we said before, there are two keys, the RSA and the DSA. Let's go with the RSA. So the command we're going to use is SSH keygen. Let me just show you the man page. Anytime you want to find out about a command, here we go, SSH keygen, and there it gives you a list of, not a list, sorry, it gives you the actual man page, so you can browse through it and take your time, get familiar. Okay, that's SSH keygen. Now the key type that we're going to be generating is going to be the type is going to be RSA, and the length of it is going to be, let's put it 2048 bits. Okay, so now just hit enter. Just hit enter and enter the file in which to save the key. We're going to leave this as default as the ID_RSA. Let's leave that. Just hit enter. We are not going to put a password for this key. I will show you how to create a file using a password in another, not in another video, in let's just say later. After I show you this way, then I'll show you the other way. Okay, just hit enter. Same passphrase again. Enter. Okay, our key has been created. Let us double check to see it's been created. ls-al. The reason why to use ls-al is because the folder that it creates is a .ssh folder. And when you have dot in Linux and Unix, when you have a dot inside of a file, that means it's a hidden file. So let's see, and there we have our ID_RSA, and it has the permissions of read write for the owner only. That's a private key, and then the one below it is read write for the owner, read for the group, and read for other. That's the public key. And the known host file is the file that stores all the information of, not all the information, but host keys for machines that you have previously connected to, so that it can compare the keys for a particular machine, or compare the host keys for a particular machine and judge if the machine looks dodgy or not, or if it may be a machine masquerading as another machine. Okay, so what we're going to do now, since remember we still have password authentication enabled, so we're going to use another command. It's called SSH copy ID. Okay, now this is installs your public key into a remote machine's authorized keys. Okay, so what this does is we're going to connect now to, we're going to send the key from our host server to this server. Let's see if we have any file called SSH. Okay, yes, we do have a folder called .ssh, but it does not have the authorize underscore keys. So what this program is actually going to do, this is going to create that file for you. Okay. Now, there's another way you can do it. You can actually do a secure copy, SCP, and copy the file from the current directory, go into the directory and copy it from the current directory, and send it over SSH via secure copy to the guest folder. But we'll just use this program here instead. SSH-copy ID, and we'll just put the server 192.168.1.8. Okay, connection refused. Okay, let's put the port. Actually, let me just type out everything here for you so that you have kind of a good idea of what's going on. I'll even type out the name. Okay, there is it. So we got SSH-copy ID port 18,022. The name online PC Wizard at 192.168.1.8. Let's see what happens. Okay, bad port 0 on UMass 077 test D or make directory SSH cat 2. I don't think that did correctly, you know. Oh no, hold on a minute. Connection refused. What port are we running on over here? Sorry. etc ssh sshd underscore 18022. Allow users. Okay, let me move strict mode. Okay, we'll put back strict modes afterwards because that's a good security feature. And let me just reload the configuration. init.d reload. Now you notice I move in between the service scripts and the etc/init.d scripts. Both of them work, but there still is a difference in them. Okay, let's try that one more time. The same thing we got. Why is that not allowing me to use that file? Let me try something. Home. I am not sure why that is giving me a problem to SSH using that port. But let me take away the port and let me give it a try. Let me change that.